What do you see in me that I don't think I see in myself?
Confidence. So any human being should, and I'm stealing these lines from other people, but I think that it's so important to not have an I can't do this, or I don't know if I can do this in your vocabulary, because then you put yourself already at a disadvantage. I think if I was to change anything, or try to convince you of anything, is don't question yourself. Take those steps. The only thing that you'll miss is the shots that you don't take. You gotta take them. What is a pain in me you wish you could heal, and why?
I want to say it without crying. I would probably say, like, I wish you didn't have to go through as much, like, pain. Like, growing up, I feel like there was a lot of things you weren't given. And, like you could argue that, like, well, you didn't experience them, so, like, you don't know what it feels like to have these, like, experiences. But I feel like had you would have done, like, things that, like, I could have, like, for example, I feel like, so, like, I go to school in Chicago. I feel like that's an experience that I wish you could have had.
Well, I think we've talked about this. The thing is, if you don't experience it and it's not within your reach, then you don't miss it. And I think that's the big issue that we've always talked about. That it doesn't matter because I didn't miss it because it wasn't in my reach. So it doesn't matter.
But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, 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 what's an example? Like, I've never been to Spain, but I'm like, oh, that must be so cool to, like, go to Spain. Or, like, it must be so cool to go to a World Cup. And you could say, like, well, I've never been to one, so I don't know what I'm missing. But, like, there's always that want where it's like, oh, wouldn't it have been cool to, like, do that or, like, have that?
But I don't think it was a want, because it goes back to this. You don't miss it. It wasn't a want because it wasn't within your reach. So I don't think it was, I think you're next.
How has your journey become mine?
Well, I think if you were saying like soccer, for example, I didn't get an opportunity to play soccer because Dad was always working and we just didn't have the resources. I think I played soccer through you. And I think a lot of parents do that. You know, I think that's why I put so much emphasis on being successful in soccer. I think I played soccer through you. I think a lot of times we as parents try to live a life through you guys. I think that's probably the thing that I see.
Yeah.
How have I surprised you most as a father that you never expected?
I feel like just the amount of times you've, like, been there for me. Like, whenever I call, you always pick up. Or, like, whenever I need anything, you always answer. You're just always, like, that support system. And I feel like not a lot of kids have that.
Well, but
Or, like, that safety net of, like, you always have someone to go to. Or have someone to, like, if anything went wrong, I know you would, like, be there, like, within a heartbeat.
well, that's kind of like the job, right? That's what you sign up for.
What's the best thing you've learned from our worst fight?
Oh, we've had many.
Yeah, but what's the best?
You know, I think the best thing I learned throughout life, not only in our fight with family or with the kids, is when you start screaming or raising your voice, you lose control. I think the main thing is you gotta stay in control. I think it's the hardest thing because I grew up with a very with a macho, very strict dad that you never raised the voice over him. But I think with me, the hardest thing was to adapt the other way and just think things out. And I think the way I learned to cope with it is to just go back and admit that, you know, sometimes dads make mistakes. So. Do you think that for me, where I'm from is where I belong? Why or why not?
The way I interpret that question, no, I don't think so. I think you got to where you are because I think like there's a bunch of reasons why you got to where you are. I think it was luck, and I also think it was like hard work and like resilience in the face of adversity. I think there was like a lot of factors that like went into play. I think like what you said, like preparedness, success is when like preparedness meets opportunity. I feel like that was a big part of the case. But like, I do think like luck was it and like prayer was it. So I feel like everything that you got, it wasn't by mistake. I feel like you really like earned it.
Oh, it's you.
Where do you think the tears I'm holding back now are coming from?
The tears? Oh, sorry.
I think I'm just a really emotional person. I don't think I'm holding it back, but.
Where do you think? They're probably coming from me, if anything. You know, with my job and the way I was raised close to mom, I think I became a very sentimental person, and I think that you get a lot of that from me, and thank God for being able to cry. You know, if you cry a little every day, you had a good day. What is the most powerful lesson I taught you?
Probably that, like, there's nothing you can't do. I think every time I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, I don't know if I could go to law school. I don't know if I can go to college. Like, you're like, don't say that. Like, there's nothing you can't do. And I think a lot of, like, the things that I've been able to do have been because you're like, there's nothing you can't do. And then I feel like all the challenges that you've overcome, I feel like it has like inspired me, where I'm like, well, if my parents could do this, like when they had nothing, when they like came to this country not knowing the language, like not having anything, like not knowing anyone here, like there's no reason why I couldn't do it. And I feel like a lot of it is because like you guys like overcame so much, and I'm like, I have to do it because like my parents were able to do it, so I have no excuse. If this were to be our last conversation ever, what would you never want me to forget?
You know, I would say that the memory of what we did, I would never want you to forget that. I think that's every human being wants to be remembered for something, and it should be the people that you touched. Not what I did for you, but how I touched you. That's what I would say.
I would say it's just, like, I would want you just to know, like, how much I love you and how much I appreciate, like, all the things you ever done for me, like my siblings, my mom.
Thank you.
Hey there, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that conversation and you want to ask these questions to your own family, check out the And Family Edition card game at theskindeep.com/shop.